His name is Tom, 200 kilograms, bald, 40 years old, and has never been in love. At work, his coworkers laughed behind his back. I doubt he had even touched a woman's hand. When Tom didn't respond, his colleague ripped off his headphones. Tom did not want to argue with his colleagues. He silently turned around and left, but the colleague smashed the headset on his head again. But Tom just looked at him and picked up the headphones and left in silence. The leader saw all this and asked him if he was being bullied. But Tom said, "No, are you sure? Maybe it was just a little joke. It's very common to get along. There is nothing abnormal." But all he got in return for his simplicity was more and more teasing from his colleagues. One day Tom came home from work and found the neighbor's little girl sitting at the door. It turned out that she had forgotten her keys and was locked out of the door. Looking at the girl's cold and cramped body, so the kind Tom invited her to his home to sit for a while. He also prepared a cake and milk for her, and soon after the neighbor came back. After seeing Tom's appearance, he showed a hint of disgust and worried look. After scolding his daughter twice, he took her and left, not even a basic thank you. The mother's boyfriend disliked Tom's home all day, so he enrolled Tom in a private dance class. I hope he can meet more friends. Of course, he also stayed home less to give himself and his mother some personal space. It was the day of Tom's dance class. His mother put on her son's formal clothes and leather shoes. After all the trouble, Tom was late. He came to the door with his hands and feet. He felt out of place as he watched the others chatting in groups. Without any hesitation, he turned around and went back to his car, a person listening to his favorite music quietly waiting for the time to pass. See her suddenly feel so hard. Isn't this exactly what we want to socialize but are afraid of being alone? I don't know how long it took for a woman to come out of the classroom. It was snowing heavily outside, and she saw Tom's car and rushed over. Tom asked if he could give her a ride and Tom said yes. The woman's name was Sarah and she got in the car before she could see Tom's face. When she saw that he didn't say anything, Sarah realized that this fat guy might be a pervert. Tom explained that he also enrolled in the dance class, just did not get in. Sarah was a little confused, but still warmly invited him to try again next week. She would take him dancing as a reward for the ride. Tom didn't say no, and he didn't say yes, but the next week he still came to the dance studio. Tom couldn't dance. He could only wriggle awkwardly to the music. Every once in a while, Sarah would turn her head and smile at him when the teacher called out a mistake. Tom would also grin at her mischievously. After the dance class, Tom took Sarah to the restaurant he often went to. This was the first time the owner had seen Tom bring a girl. He brought a special dish for the two of them in the hope that it would help Tom get off the hook. After dinner, Tom took Sarah to his secret base. The two sat in the car listening to music radio. This time Tom did not play heavy metal music. Instead, he ordered a Tender Island in the stream. This host is really bad. He heard that this 200 kilograms fat man is actually giving a girl to order a song, so he couldn't help but to tune in and say, "What's this heavy metal guy doing? I didn't order this song for myself. It's for a girl. That's my man. How many bases are you on? First, second or third? Well, I'm not ordering the song." And Sarah in the car is listening to their conversation over the radio. She was amused by Tom's clumsy but warm gesture. When they parted, Sarah invited him in for a cup of tea. But Tom, the straight man, replied, "I never drink tea. What about coffee? No thanks, I'm not thirsty." Well, at least it was worth asking. Sarah, a little disappointed to get out of the car, just started the car. Tom thought more and more wrong, so he came back and knocked on Sarah's door and said, "I wouldn't say no to milk if it was available." Sarah greeted Tom warmly. During the conversation, Tom learned that Sarah worked in a flower store and loved to travel. Her dream was to open her own flower store. Tom was a gentleman and sat down for a while and then left. On the way home, he thought about Sarah's smile and every sound. Tom's face showed a happy and hopeful smile, but the next day at work he was bullied by his colleagues again. He didn't want to take a shower with his colleagues because he knew his colleagues would laugh at his fat body. Instead, they forced him into the bathroom and drenched him in water. But Tom did not resist at all. But lately he's got a new friend. The little girl in the house would come to play with him. The girl asked him, "Why don't you have a girlfriend when you're so old?" "My father said you are a strange man. Do you think you are strange?" Tom thought about it and said, "I don't think so." The little girl said, "I don't think you're weird either." The look on her face was sincere and cute, and Tom felt a warm feeling in his heart. This day at work, when a colleague's car broke down, this is the person who always takes the lead in bullying Tom. But Tom helped him fix his car despite his past. The man was ashamed and invited Tom to a party at his house this weekend. Tom agreed and then went to his best friend's house. He then came to his best friend's house and told him about Sarah's invitation to tea. The good brother looked at Tom with a look of hatred. And he explained, "If a woman invites you to her house for tea, it means she wants to go out with you. This is the international dating signal." Tom heard a sudden enlightenment. Immediately went to book a trip to the Egyptian pyramids project. Then he went to the florist to find Sarah to give her a surprise, only to be told that Sarah doesn't work here. It turns out that she is a garbage sorting engineer. She felt ashamed of her job and lied to Tom. When she heard that Tom had gone to the flower store to look for her, Sarah was furious. All the dignity she'd worked so hard to maintain was shattered in this moment. "Why don't you leave, Tom? I'm sorry, I didn't know you were were so angry. I don't care where you work. It doesn't matter to me. Sarah was happy to see Tom hand over the travel tickets, but still politely refused him. Because they were still friends, Tom was issued a good guy card. He didn't say anything else and decided to respect Sarah's choice. On the weekend he came to his colleague's house for a party. At first the atmosphere was good and everyone was having a good time, but then his colleague called in a dancer. He wanted to make Tom a real man. This time Tom was really angry, and he didn't accept it anymore. 2 or 3 times, he dumped his colleague. He left the messy place. This 200 kilograms fat guy is really miserable. He was about to go for a drive. The neighbor's little girl asked to join him. Tom didn't think twice and took her with him, but the little girl's father reported that he couldn't find his child. Just as he was getting anxious, he ran into Tom coming back with his daughter. He rushed up in anger and scolded Tom, and in front of everyone said he was a pervert. Tom was then taken to the police station for investigation. I want to know if you have been out and about. I want to know if there is any inappropriate behavior or inappropriate interactions between adults and children. Inappropriate interactions between adults and children. Usually she wants to play house, but I don't really like it, so I always suggest games that I'm personally more interested in. So what are your interests? Mostly World War II, I see. So you're playing war games. The old J officer then realized that Tom was just a naive big boy, so he let him go. But even so, Tom's reputation in the area was completely ruined. Parents didn't want their kids anywhere near Tom. Under the father's strict prohibition, the little girl also had to keep her distance from Tom. Without any chance to explain, Tom was sentenced to death by the neighbors. At this point, Tom hadn't seen Sarah in a long time. He came to Sarah's house and found it in a mess. The TV was not sharp and the cat was hungry and coughing. It turns out that Sarah's depression has broken out. She had locked herself in the bathroom and wouldn't come out. Are you okay? Leave me alone. How did you get in here? I broke a window. Tom, go away. Leave me alone. Get out. Kind Tom didn't leave. He took a long leave of absence from his boss. He started taking care of Sarah day and night. To keep Sarah from being fired from the dump, Tom started to take over her job. The people at the dump were very friendly, and not only did they not discriminate against his appearance, instead, they invited him to watch the game with them. Tom was warmed by the fact that everyone was getting along equally and harmoniously. After a week, Sarah's condition gradually improved. Perhaps touched by this man's kindness and gentleness, Sarah began to take the initiative to get closer to Tom. The relationship between the two became more like a couple of lovers. Tom finally felt love for the first time. Sarah also did not mind his appearance. She saw the beauty of this man's soul. As their relationship became more stable, Sarah asked Tom to move in with her, and Tom agreed. He packed a box of beloved toys and brought them to the girl. Only the girl's father was home at the time. He took the toys and hesitated for a moment before calling out to Tom. I want to apologize for my behavior that day. I was going through a difficult time and it's okay. Thanks for bringing the stuff over. Tom then called his buddies to carry the bags to Sarah's house. Little by little, the bags filled Sarah's house, and a little bit filled Tom's heart. But at that moment Sarah's expression became more and more uneasy. She called Tom to the side and said in a stammering voice, "I made a mistake." As she spoke, her body began to shake. It seemed that depression was coming on again. The sensitive Tom immediately understood what Sarah meant. She regretted it. Tom wisely and silently carried the luggage back to the car. It seemed he was never sad. This result is also expected by him. Love was originally something he did not dare to hope for. When he returned, he used his savings to buy a grocery store and turned it into a flower store because he remembered that Sarah's dream was to have her own flower store. He wrote a letter and wrapped the key to the flower store in it and delivered it to Sarah's house. After doing all this, he left in silence. At the end of the film, Tom, who works at the airport, Tom, who has never been abroad before, finally boards a plane alone. He wants to see the world. When the plane was about to take off, Tom showed a rare smile. Maybe life is to experience to have growth. I hope everyone has the courage to get out of their own fortress. Find the confidence to become a better version of yourself. An appearance is by no means the same as a person's all.